Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Carol Davis here with a spot of sunshine just for you. It is 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Tuesday, May 11th. Here we start a new week, meaning I do this broadcast Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Why do I do this? Why do I read another silly children's book to grown-ups? Why? I could read anything. I could read the dang phone book. But the whole point is it's just like an exercise. Stop. No matter what you're doing, and kind of turn the day around. Like, way back when, like decades ago when I smoked, I would be like, a cigarette was a chance to do something to turn my day around. Stop. Regroup. Even if I'm having a good day, stop. And breathe, because remember, you could really breathe when you smoked. If you smoked, that was really breathing. And turn it around and decide whatever. It's just a moment. You know when the wheels get going, stop, refocus, regroup. That's what this is really about, one. And two, if you recall at the beginning of this, which was near maybe it's been like a year. It was around the beginning of the pandemic, not the exact beginning. It was May or June. And I started this because I wanted so desperately to participate in the recovery of the world's recovery. My own physical limitations would not allow for me to get outside. I had to do something. So I thought the only thing I can do is something on the internet. So I thought of this spot of sunshine. So hopefully it would be entertaining. But most of all, this moment, a moment in time to do whatever, but to change. So I'm still doing it. I'm working on what else could I do differently now that we seem to be kind of getting back to normal. Maybe, I don't know. But let me know your feedback. I would love to hear your feedback. Do you really like this? Do you would like me to change what I read or just start doing something different? Maybe a little, just pop on and say some little, what do you call that? Words of wisdom, my own, whatever. Or read famous philosophers. There's a lot of things I could do besides this. But here we go for today. We're going to read, I've already taken 2 minutes up, Where Does God Live? Where does God live? Ready? This is Hope. Hope. And she's a lot like you. She loves her puppy. She loves the color blue. She likes to laugh and play and sing, but asking questions is her favorite thing. Oh, that was totally my childhood. Well, it still is. Why? Where does the sun go? Why does it rain? Why don't snowflakes look all the same? There were so many things Hope wanted to know, such as how many colors are in a rainbow? She'd ask her friends and her mom and dad, her grandmother Rose and her big brother Brad, the mailman, the grocer, and nice Mrs. Ying. She'd ask anyone about any old thing. One day a new question popped into her head, and she asked her mom, who was making the bed, where does God live? Does God live nearby? Hope, God lives in heaven, way up in the sky. If you don't believe this, neither do I, but hang on, it gets better. It changes. Don't worry, hang on. Now, Hope hadn't heard about heaven before, but she knew that she wanted to learn a lot more. So she went to the meadow to have a few words with sweet Mrs. Peep, her favorite bird. Have you ever seen heaven way up in the sky? Have you ever seen God when you fly far and high? I've seen clouds and stars and skies of blue, the moon, the rainbows, and lightning too. But I've never seen heaven, even though I've flown far and near. But the sky is so lovely, God has to live here. Reminds me of a friend of mine, he told me, Carol, once, scientists have flown 7.5 light years away. 7.5 freaking light years away, but they haven't seen heaven. They haven't seen the pearly gates. Nothing. 7.5 million light years. Anyway, moving on. Hope thanked Mrs. Peep and went down to the stream to see Mr. Frog, who was chubby and green. Where does God live? She asked Mr. Frog. He looked up and smiled as he sat on his log. Look at the flowers, the wide open spaces. The trees and the butterflies, those beautiful places. To me, this is almost like heaven, you see. That's how I know that God lives here with me. All of a sudden, and quick as a flash, Mrs. Fish jumped up high and came down with a splash. Oh no, that's not true. That can't really be. I know that God lives in the stream here with me. This crystal blue water is lovely, I know. God lives here with me in the waters below. Hope thanked her friends and went on her way to hear what her grandmother might have to say. Her grandmother was wise and her heart very pure, and she'd know the answer of that, Hope was sure. Does God live in heaven or down by the stream? Does God live in the water or is God a dream? Tell me where God does live. I really must know. Oh, please won't you tell me, my sweet Grandma Rose? Her grandmother smiled as grandmothers can, and softly she reached out for Hope's little hand. I know you're confused, and I'm glad you came. Now listen real close, and I'll try to explain. You know, God made everything, seen and unseen. The wind, the sun, the meadows so green. Flowers and stars and oceans of blue. Trees, birds and rocks, and all people, too. And when God makes a person, a star or a wave, a part of God stays with whatever God's made. With whatever God's made. So God lives in the sky, in the meadows, and the stream. God lives everywhere, and God isn't a dream. God lives in the frogs and the birds and in you. And when you're looking for God, it's easy to do. God lives in all things that you see, hear or touch. God lives in all people. God is in each one of us. Sorry. And when you meet people who are just loving and good, they're letting God out, just as everyone could. And if you meet people who seem hateful or bad, they've forgotten God's here, and that makes them sad. God is, let me see how much I have to read yet. Because I talked too much and used it. I'm going to keep reading. God is gentle and loving and cares for us all. God gives us strength to get up and when we fall. God is always around to help us find truth, whether we're old or still in our youth. God's your best friend, Hope. God really cares. So make sure every day to take time for your prayers. Well, how should I pray, Grandma? What should I say? I want God to hear me. What's the best way? Her grandmother hugged her and said, Precious you, just speak from your heart, Hope. It's easy to do. Tell God your wishes, your fears, and your dreams. Then thank God for all your favorite things. Ask God to guide you in all that you do, and be thankful for all of the love God sends you. Hope kissed Grandma Rose and went on her way. She had no more questions, at least for that day. And on her way home, she saw God in all things, in the clouds and the flowers, and Mrs. Ying. And later that night, when Hope went to bed, she closed her eyes slowly and bowed down her head. Dear God, thank you so much for this wonderful day. Thanks for the friends who showed me the way. Please help me tomorrow in all that I do, and don't forget, God, how much I love you. Yay! That's it for today. See you tomorrow. Hi, Frank. Thanks. Bye.